Hello friends, continuing with the instructional videos on the LS G100 series inverter, today we want to talk about the different types of stop modes in the G100 series inverter. In the G100 series inverter, we have three types of stop modes. One is deceleration stop, two is stop after DC braking, and three is free run stop. But what exactly are each of these and what are their features? The first stop method, our stop mode, is deceleration stop. What does that mean? It means that if, while the inverter is in its operational run mode, you send the stop command to the inverter will start to gradually decrease the frequency according to the time you have set, and it will reach zero, stopping your motor. But in which parameter should we set our stop mode to deceleration stop? If you set parameter AD08 to 0, your stop mode will be based on the deceleration time. And the parameter related to deceleration time is also in the main group of the inverter, which is the DEC parameter. You can set it from 0 up to 600 seconds. But what is the reference for this deceleration time? It's based on the maximum frequency by default. Of course, you can also set it based on the command frequency, but the default is always based on the maximum frequency. For example, if your maximum frequency in the DR18 parameter is set to 50 Hz and you set your deceleration time to, say, 10 seconds, it will take 10 seconds to go from 50 Hz down to 0 Hz. So our first stop mode is deceleration time. Based on the deceleration time you specify, it starts to stop. The next stop mode in the inverter is stop after DC braking. Sometimes we need the motor shaft to lock in place immediately when we issue the stop command, and the motor should stop right away. For this, you need to use the stop after DC braking feature. How does this work? The nature of this feature is that the inverter sends a direct current based on the rated current you specified in the motor parameters, to the stator windings of the electric motor and locks the motor shaft in place. For our stop mode to be via direct current braking, we need to set parameter AD08 to 1 so that it uses direct current braking. The next parameter is AD14, which is the time before injecting the direct current. We usually set this to 0. AD15 is the direct current break time, which specifies how many seconds the inverter should inject direct current into the motor windings. You set this duration in AD15. In AD16, you specify the direct current break level, meaning the percentage of the rated current you entered in the motor parameters that will be sent and injected into the motor windings. In parameter AD17, you set the frequency related to direct current braking. For example, if you set AD17 to a frequency of 40 Hz at 40 Hz and any frequency lower than 40 Hz, as soon as you issue the stop command, the motor shaft will lock in place and your motor will stop. Or if you set AD17 to 40 Hz and your inverter is currently running at 50 Hz, when you issue the stop command, the inverter will not inject direct current until it reaches 40 Hz. So the frequency set in AD17 includes the frequency you set and any lower frequencies. But the last stop mode in the G100 inverter is free run stop. Here, time is no longer important. When you issue the stop command, the inverter completely cuts off the U, V, W outputs, and your motor, depending on the inertia of your load, starts to stop. That means the greater the inertia of your load, the longer it will take for your motor to stop, and the less inertia your load has, the faster your motor will stop. So in free run stop, as soon as the stop command is issued, the inverter cuts its output and your motor stops according to your load's inertia. So these are the different stop modes in the G100 inverter. Let's test these three modes together on the G100 inverter and observe the differences between each. As we said, the first stop mode is via deceleration time. To set the deceleration time, we go to the main group and enter the DEC parameter. Here, I've set it to 10 seconds. DR20, which is my maximum frequency parameter, and the reference for this deceleration time is set to 50, meaning it should go from 50 to 0 in 10 seconds. After setting the stop mode to deceleration time, we said you need to enter parameter add 8 and set it to 0, so our stop mode is via deceleration time. Now I'll start my VFD. I wait for it to reach a frequency of 50. Now if I issue the stop command, it should take 10 seconds to go from a frequency of 50 to a frequency of 0. I'm going to stop it now. It determines the duration of 10 seconds, and in the end my electric motor stops. This was the stop using the deceleration time. The second method we mentioned is through DC braking. We said that a DC current, based on the rated current specified in the parameters of the electric motor, is injected into the motor winding and immediately locks the shaft of the electric motor, stopping it. For this, we said you set parameter AD8, which is parameter ADV8, to the value 1. For parameter AD14, which is the time before applying the DC current, we set it to 0 because we want the DC current to be injected immediately. AD15 is the duration for which this DC current is injected into the motor winding. You shouldn't set this duration too long because it can damage your motor winding. Here, we'll set it to 4 seconds. AD16 is the level as a percentage of the rated current that we've set. Here, we'll set it to 50. AD17 is the frequency at which we want to stop, and at that frequency the DC current will be injected into the motor winding. We said, for example, if we set this frequency to 40, at 40 Hz and below, whenever a stop command is issued, the shaft of the electric motor will immediately lock. Here, for example, I'll set the frequency to 40 Hz. Okay, let's go back. Now I'm starting my frequency at 50 Hz. Alright, we had set the frequency for DC brake to 40. Now, if I press stop, as soon as my frequency drops and reaches 40, the shaft of my electric motor will immediately lock, and it will hold the shaft for 4 seconds. Then I'll release it and press stop again. As soon as it reaches 40, you'll see that the shaft of my electric motor locks and stops right away. Okay? Next is the next stop mode. We said that with the free run mode, depending on your load's inertia, it will cut the output and your electric motor will stop based on your load's inertia. I set AD8 to 2, which means stop via free run, and I start this motor again. Here, since our load's inertia is low, obviously it won't take long for our electric motor to stop. I give the stop command, and you see, because my load's inertia was low here, my electric motor took only a short time to come to a stop.